Welcome back. Today we explore the powerful and historic story of USS Ticonderoga, CV-14, an aircraft carrier whose service spanned World War II, the Cold War, and the space age. Few warships in history experienced such dramatic transformations or played roles in events that shaped both military and human history. USS Ticonderoga was not just a weapon of war, but a symbol of American innovation, resilience, and global reach. USS Ticonderoga was commissioned on May 8, 1944, during the height of World War II. She was one of the most advanced Essex-class aircraft carriers, but with significant design improvements that later earned her recognition as part of a distinct subgroup often called the Ticonderoga class. Her most visible difference was the redesigned bow, which improved seaworthiness and allowed for heavier anti-aircraft armament. Built for speed, power, and endurance, Ticonderoga was created to dominate the vast distances of the Pacific Ocean. Almost immediately after entering service, USS Ticonderoga was sent into combat. By early 1945, she joined the U.S. Navy's fast carrier task forces as they pushed closer to the Japanese mainland. Her flight deck became a constant scene of activity as fighters, dive bombers, and torpedo planes launched day after day. These aircraft struck enemy airfields, shipping, industrial centers, and military installations, weakening Japan's ability to continue the war. One of the most intense moments in Ticonderoga's World War II service came in January 1945, during operations near Formosa, now Taiwan. Japanese kamikaze attacks had become a deadly threat, and USS Ticonderoga found herself directly in their path. On January 21, she was struck by two kamikaze aircraft in rapid succession. The attacks caused massive fires, explosions, and heavy casualties among the crew. Despite severe damage and the loss of many sailors, the ship did not sink. What followed became one of the most remarkable examples of damage control in naval history. Crew members fought fires, treated the wounded, and stabilized the ship under extreme conditions. Leadership and discipline kept panic from spreading. Within hours, Ticonderoga was back under control and able to withdraw under her own power. This moment cemented her reputation as a tough and resilient warship, and it highlighted the courage of the sailors who refused to let their ship die. After repairs, USS Ticonderoga returned to action and continued participating in major operations against Japan. As the war neared its end, her aircraft supported strikes on the Japanese home islands, contributing to the pressure that ultimately led to Japan's surrender. When World War II ended in August 1945, Ticonderoga had earned multiple battle stars and a place among the most battle-tested carriers of the conflict. Following the war, USS Ticonderoga entered a period of transition. Like many wartime ships, she was initially placed in reserve as the U.S. military downsized. However, global politics soon shifted. The Cold War began, and the need for powerful naval forces returned. Advances in aviation technology, especially the rise of jet aircraft, required major changes to existing carriers. In the 1950s, USS Ticonderoga underwent extensive modernization. She received an angled flight deck, steam catapults, improved arresting gear, and stronger elevators to handle heavier, faster jets. These upgrades transformed her from a World War II-era carrier into a modern platform capable of operating cutting-edge aircraft. The changes were so extensive that they gave the ship a completely new operational life. When the Vietnam War escalated in the 1960s, USS Ticonderoga was once again called into combat. Operating from the Gulf of Tonkin, she launched air strikes against North Vietnamese targets as part of major U.S. Navy operations. Her aircraft attacked supply routes, bridges, airfields, and enemy positions deep inland. The pace was relentless. Flight operations often continued around the clock, placing enormous strain on both equipment and crew. Life aboard Ticonderoga during Vietnam was intense and dangerous. Pilots flew into heavily defended airspace filled with anti-aircraft guns and surface-to-air missiles. Deck crews worked inches away from jet exhausts, spinning turbines, and live ordnance. Accidents were an ever-present risk. Despite these dangers, the crew maintained a high level of professionalism, knowing that their work directly affected the outcome of missions and the safety of their fellow sailors. USS Ticonderoga became one of the most active carriers of the Vietnam War, earning numerous commendations for her performance. She proved that even ships designed during World War II could remain effective decades later through smart modernization and skilled crews. Her service during Vietnam added another powerful chapter to an already distinguished career. Yet USS Ticonderoga's story does not end with warfare. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, she took on a role unlike any other aircraft carrier in history. As the United States pursued its ambitious space program, the Navy became responsible for recovering astronauts returning from space. USS Ticonderoga was selected as the recovery ship for several critical NASA missions. In 1969, USS Ticonderoga recovered the crew of Apollo 11, the first humans to land on the Moon. When astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins splashed down in the Pacific Ocean, it was Ticonderoga that welcomed them back to Earth. The image of astronauts standing on her deck after completing humanity's greatest exploration achievement became iconic. Later, she also recovered the Apollo 13 crew after their dramatic and dangerous mission. These recovery missions transformed the ship into a symbol not just of military power, but of human achievement and scientific progress. USS Ticonderoga had moved from launching aircraft into combat to helping bring astronauts safely home from space. Few ships in history can claim such a diverse and meaningful legacy. As the 1970s progressed, USS Ticonderoga began to show her age. Newer, larger, and more advanced carriers were entering service, many powered by nuclear reactors. While Ticonderoga remained capable, maintaining an aging conventional carrier became increasingly costly. In 1973, after nearly 30 years of service, she was decommissioned. For the sailors who served aboard her, decommissioning was an emotional moment. The ship had been their home during war and peace, a place of danger, friendship, and unforgettable experiences. Though she would never sail again, her impact could not be erased. In 1975, USS Ticonderoga was sold for scrap, a common fate for many historic warships of her era. While her physical form disappeared, her story lives on through photographs, records, and the memories of those who served aboard her. Her legacy is preserved in naval history and in the broader story of the 20th century. USS Ticonderoga stands as a reminder of how technology, strategy, and human courage intersect at sea. She survived devastating kamikaze attacks, adapted to the jet age, fought in 2 major wars, and played a role in humanity's journey beyond Earth. Her decks witnessed fear, loss, triumph, and celebration. She carried generations of sailors who answered their nation's call, often at great personal risk. The story of USS Ticonderoga, CV-14, is ultimately a story of endurance and transformation. From the burning skies of the Pacific in World War II to the quiet moment of welcoming astronauts home, she served with distinction in every role assigned to her. Though she no longer exists as steel and rivets, her spirit remains anchored in history as one of the most remarkable aircraft carriers ever to sail the world's oceans.